Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me. Today we have a little interesting piece to look at. This is the Modfans Roller, however you want to pronounce it. But this is their masterpiece scale take on a transformable roller. This is something that they designed themselves and put out, and it really is a nice bot. There's two versions that are going to be available eventually. There's this, the silver one, and then there's also the blue one. So you get to take your pick, or if you're like me, just go ahead and buy both. But he is a really good bot, especially for a first attempt. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. As always, we're going to start with accessories. So he does come with two different blasters, and I guess one of them you could say is a torch, if you want to. But there's one of them. They both do have some sculpted detail, but a lot of waffling, to be honest. But it's not bad to say. But there's the first one, and here's the second one, which I would say would be his blaster pistol. It's got a little sight on it. So you do have the ability to connect them to make a rifle if you like. So that's an option. It also helps with storage in the alt mode as well. But it does look really nice. And the last accessory he comes with is the rubber hose, which simple, just rubber. And you can connect it here to give it that blowtorch hose look. So overall, the accessories are pretty well done. And either gun will fit in either hand just fine. If you want to use the hose in robot mode, you can. Just simply hook it into the back of the blaster of your choosing. And there's not really a designated location, so I just put it in the hole here. It doesn't stick very well, but maybe you can put some tape on there, something to tighten it up. So let's start things off in robot mode. So taking a look at the face, he's got some very nice detail. You can see the nose and the mouth. Done in a silver paint and then metallic blue paint for the eyes. Looks really good. Very good detailing throughout the whole bot, honestly. As far as articulation, the head is on a ball, so you can do a full 360. Limited a little bit up. Actually limited a lot, but limited down as well. But that is just due to the sculpt of the head and the helmet. Coming across the shoulders, all the plastic does appear to be just colored plastic, but it's done really well in this silver, this metallic silver. Solid across the shoulders, coming to the arms, which they are on a ball, so you do get a little bit of a butterfly. The arm can also go up and down just due to transformation, but that's a nice option. And limited a little bit out, limited to about 45 degrees, to be honest. But it looks really, really well done. Now, one thing that I don't like is I don't like that the wheels don't lock in place. There's a lot of joints that don't lock in place, which is the only issue I have with the figure. You do have bicep rotation above the elbow. You do have full 360 with that fan toy squeak going on. Elbow is double jointed, so you do get more than 90 degrees. You get the full run. The hands, there's no articulation in the fingers, but they do rotate. And you have a little bit of up and down due to the transformation joint. Now, one thing, this here does not lock into place, so as you manipulate the hands, you could very well unlock it, but still looks good. Done entirely in silver. We got some silver paint here for accents on the upper arm. Coming to the chest, nicely done. A little bit of detail. Silver paint for the accents. Looks really good. And as far as articulation, it does have a full 360 on the waist, teapot motion, and a little bit of an ab crunch forward. So pretty good. This is one thing also that does not tab in, so that's a little bit of an annoyance. The hip skirts do move front and back, so you can get up all the way, back all the way, and you can go out the full run. Nicely done. Silver paint on the thighs, and one thing that was surprising, die cast in there as well. So you do have a very nice ratchet on the knee bend, which gets you a little bit more than 90. Just bear in mind when you move the knees, you want to keep this piece forward because it will actually lock and prevent it from bending. So just be aware. You've got some nice detail on the legs, on the inner legs as well. And on the outer leg, you've got the red marker light. As far as articulation of the feet, you do have pivot up and down. The heel does move, and you do get a little bit of a rocker. So nicely done. Overall, for a first attempt, he is a really well done bot. I can't wait to get the blue one in my collection too. For a quick comparison, here he is with Magic Square's Light of Peace. Now the transformation is a bit more in depth than I would have thought, but it's not impossible. It's actually kind of fun. First step is you want to pull these sections up on both sides and undo the connection here on this side, on this piece on the side. Can be a bit tricky, so it might be beneficial to have a spudger. And then these rotate up and then clamp on. It's a very light connection. You may have to end up doing it again, but that's what you want it to look like. You can rotate the head if you want. It's entirely your choice. The chest does pivot forward and then come down and then makes a connection there. As far as the arms, you want to stow the hands and make sure you have this connection right in order to bring it up all the way and peg in there, just like that. Show that on both sides. Now, shoulders are done. You want to go ahead and pull the backpack away, and I like to go ahead and take care of this connection here too and get it out of the way. Bring this piece down to cover the face. You'll want to actually rotate the shoulders, bring these flank sides down, and then these are going to pivot down and in, and you'll see this hole right here needs to go on that peg. So it does pivot down in order to make that connection. It's a little tight, but you should be able to get it. Sometimes you need to reseat it, reseat the arm. There we go. Hopefully this one goes a little better, but bring it up. Rotate it and make that connection. Went easier on that side. Right here, you can leave these up if you want to make room for the feet. It's not really necessary, but you can always get those back down later. Now, with these, this is probably the hardest part. These need to lock on to these pegs here, and they don't always line up perfectly. So you may need to work it a little bit. So I push down here, and you see those pegs now coming through. And now we need to get this into place. If you see, there's two little ridges here on the bottom. Those connect right here. So it can be interesting getting them in. Sometimes it is better to just bring it down and push it in. Actually, see there, it worked. But ultimately, you want those small sections underneath the lip on these sections. And obviously push your wheels out. Now make sure that your hips are straight as possible, and the ab crunch as well. So we can go ahead and fold up the heel. These sections, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and move them. They might get in the way later. And then just close the foot back up. Make sure these are out, but come to the back. Go ahead and rotate your wheels. And these are important. You want to make sure that you don't forget to spin the wheels on this arm to give even spacing between the wheels. So bring the wheels out and rotate them down like that. We can go ahead and make our connection here. And next, make sure these pieces are forward and rotate on this joint. And ultimately, you're wanting these two pegs to go in those two holes. Make sure that you have the hip skirts or those flank pieces pushed in. And bring these down. And finally, close the leg sections. And I'll get them cleaned up. We'll take a look at them. And here we have him in roller mode. And he's pretty well done. You've got the silver scheme just making this figure pop. Sadly, there's no leg positions, so you can't use any of the human figures, which is a little bit disappointing, but not a major issue. You've got the black on the seats coming through in the front, windshield, yellow for the headlights, red clear plastic for the markers. Wheels are done in black plastic with silver and then red accents on the sides. View from the back. These do rotate. One thing I failed to mention during the transformation, make sure these are facing the right way. There's no need to really move them. They're not going to impede in any way, so if you want to leave them in this position, that's fine. But overall, very nicely done. You can open up the doors if you want. These can open up for posing as storage potentially if you want to do that as well. But overall, a fantastic roller. Now, one thing I've already done is I have removed the light, which comes out very simply. It's just on a peg, so you can have that in if you want. That does let you use his weapons, so you can put those in like that. Now, you can't combine them straight. You have to angle this at the side. And you can do that. One thing I don't like is the wheels do not lock in, so they're constantly loose, which can be annoying. I find myself constantly having to push them back into place. But once you've got it there, just because they don't lock in, it makes it difficult to roll on all 6 wheels. But he's doing it here. Just you might just have to make some adjustments, is what I'm saying. But one other option you have is if you take the light out and the weapon out, you can bring in MP10's trailer. And you see the 2 connections here. From what I understand, it can connect to MP44 as well, but I don't have that to test. But you can plug it in. And you can have him pulling MP10's trailer. Does pivot just fine. Rolls just fine. So very nicely thought out. So compared to the MP10 roller in the same color, definitely a size difference. But given that size difference, he does fit into MP10's trailer just fine. Here he is with Transform Element Optimus Prime and Make Toys Jazz. So let's wrap things up by starting with the negatives. The only negative I really have is a little bit of lack of articulation in the shoulders and the sections that don't tab in. That's really it. Hopefully in the future they come up with a remedy to that for later releases, if there are any. But overall, that's not a lot of complaints about this first release. In my opinion, the positives definitely outweigh the negatives. The sculpting is really well done. The articulation, except for the shoulders, is actually pretty amazing. Especially with their first attempt. I know I keep saying that, but I think it's really important here. They took something that really didn't exist. They turned it into something that was imaginative, and it's original. So overall, I do think he is an amazing little bot, especially for the price. I paid $35 on Show Z, so you really do get your bang for your buck. So overall, can I recommend it? I can. Yeah. The price point is low, and you get a very nice bot that nobody's attempted in the past. So it's pretty amazing. Again, I purchased mine at Show Z. I believe they're still in stock, and then the blue one is still on pre-order. So you definitely have the opportunity to get them. So check them out. If you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to get your bell on so you get notified about future content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again next time.